Hello friends, chosen ones. If you found this video, it's not a coincidence. Welcome to the channel. My name is Morten. I'm a starseed, light worker, shaman, mystic, and I belong to the lineage of Merlin and Mary Magdalene. So in today's video, we're gonna be getting deeper into the human condition, the suffering, the darkness, and with the purpose of clarifying things so that we can transmute it. So this video might be a bit heavy, but I've getting some downloads that I need to be less digestible for people and more true to who I am. So this is me doing just that. So I wanted to talk just briefly about the sigil that I created for my channel. It's in the logo and it will be updated over time. It's not quite finished, but the main parts are there. So the moon represents Mary Magdalene and the feminine divine energy and the structure that sort of cradles my journey. And the staff then belongs to Merlin, obviously. And the M is for, yes, for Morten, but also for Merlin and for Mary Magdalene and for mysticism and music and meditation and a bunch of other things. There's something really deep about M, and if you flip it over, it's W. So it's the me that becomes we, and there's a bunch of spells related to that, which I'm starting to get into, which is really fascinating. So I just want to let you know that that sigil, it has a lot of meanings, and we'll get more into it later, but I just wanted to talk about it because I think it's really awesome, you know, to have this lineage coming back to me. It's a remembrance, really, and it goes way beyond this life I'm living now. I'm just starting to remember it in this life, but this has been going on for a very long time. And yes, it's also related to Arcturus. So, all right, so we're going to talk about the root cause of suffering and how it manifests in each of us and in the world, and yeah, try to go a lot deeper than what I have done ever before and what I've ever heard anyone do before. So this is really to give you clarity, okay, and to make you stronger and to make you be able to face these things, because they're actually all around us. You know, it goes very deep because the unconsciousness is very strong. It goes into, you know, the individual, but also into the structures of society and so on, what we call the matrix. So what is this? What is this suffering? What is this, you know, feeling that we're carrying, this vibration that we're carrying, the society is carrying, and that it's pushing onto everyone? Well, in essence, it's the feeling of being unworthy, unworthiness, not being enough, not being worthy enough, not being basically aligned. You know, is what it essentially means. It's being sort of out of alignment. So it manifests in each of us in that feeling of insecurity, the feeling of fear, but it's also, we're looking for that connection, right? So we're looking for it in leaders, in religions, in father figures, mother figures even. I mean, it's all over, you know, and that creates, because we are not rooted in ourselves the way we are built to be, the way we're supposed to be. We're not rooted in God, in Source, in the universe, in our connection to that. That's what alignment is. It's the connection to our divine intelligence, our divine love, to the consciousness that is actually one and in all of us, and we are all in it. We're all connected to it. See, that's what we call God or Source or the universe or Some don't even want to call it anything. That's fine, you know. You're on your path and you have your relation to build, but we need to start acknowledging that there is something outside of us that we have a relation to, some kind of relation, right? And this is part of awakening, this is part of maturing. It's to acknowledge that, and it's to embody that, you see, and to start trusting that and having faith in that, and also to some degree surrendering to it. So we are maturing, we're waking up to these, so we see these patterns everywhere, you know, and it's really, as I shifted a couple of weeks ago now, I've been simmering in this new vibration and this new consciousness that I'm carrying, and the new frequency, and it's bringing a lot of insight to me and a lot of downloads, and I dig deeper into history and into all kinds of things. I've already done a lot of that before, but now it's like from a much more clearer perspective. So this is what I want to transmit to you as well, because it's going to save you a lot of effort, you know, to know these things, to know how to discern, to see the nuances. You see, this is what awakening will give you. It's discernment and nuance, to be able to look at a thing in a deeper way, and in a more nuanced way, balanced way, and in a more true way. See, that's really the key here. So this feeling of unworthiness, it comes from being misdirected. When we are young kids, if we're not heavily abused, you know, if we live a sort of normal childhood, we have that glow in us, you know. And I see it in my son, and I saw it in my daughter, and well, I still see it in my daughter, but you know, she's in non-physical now. She died 6 months ago, so. But she's still here. She's making this video with me right now. She's like supporting me all the time. She's amazing, and I'm gonna talk more about her, so in the future. But you see it in kids. Kids have this glow. This they just go for things. They don't care about, you know, upsetting anyone or not upsetting anyone, or they feel this pull. They feel the guidance, you know, coming from the inspiration, and they just go for it. They're not gonna be like you know, fearful and doubtful, especially doubtful about who they are. They know somehow intuitively, because before we're born we have that. That's also clear. And then of course we forget who we are, but the children, they're still not been indoctrinated into this slavery mentality that we have. Okay, it might sound harsh, but this is what this video is all about. It's about facing the truth. Okay, and the truth is, we were created to be slaves from the beginning. This whole thing, what you know, science is teaching is quite far from the truth. Well, it's incomplete, you could say. There's a lot of truth in there, relative truth, but the deeper truths are still, they're starting to percolate in the subconscious of humanity now. You know, we're starting to see a lot, especially the internet is so open and so free, and such a nice reflection of humanity's subconscious in a lot of ways, that we're starting to see all these ancient stories and mysteries, and they're starting to come alive. And we have a lot of us light workers, psychics and mediums and healers, all kinds of people who are going to sacred places and getting direct downloads from, you know, Egyptians and Atlanteans and Lemurians, and on and on and on it goes. And you know, I'm lucky enough to also be doing that to some degree, and I'll be doing a lot more of that. So yes, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I suppose you do that if this resonates with you, and please like the video so the algorithm can send it out, and so that the tribe can find its way here. It's so nice to see that there is some traffic coming. I've been making a lot of shorts lately, and it's working. So there's some subscribers coming, and there's some attention, so I really appreciate that. So please keep it going. Share this video with someone if there's anyone that you think would resonate with it. That's really important, you know. It's not just about getting eyeballs. It's about, you know, it's about doing some good in this world, you know. That's really what this is about. Anyhow, so how do we see this in society and in the larger situation? Because it becomes quite clear to us in ourselves, right? Like we get indoctrinated by society, by our parents who are themselves being indoctrinated. I'm not blaming anyone person here, but it's this kind of cycle that's been going on for thousands of years, and even more than that, hundreds of thousands of years. Very, very, very long time. And parts of humanity have been more conscious in the past. There's been very spiritual ancient civilizations like the Atlanteans, for example, but then they fell because there was some part of that civilization that didn't make it, you know. There was too much darkness somehow, or there was some clarity that needed to come. So then we had all these global catastrophes, this mass extinction events, and which is getting clearer now. Like there's a lot of evidence coming out, and a lot of open-minded, amazing scientists and historians and geologists and archaeologists who are not just eating this bullshit that they're getting from the mainstream and the you know, the matrix, the way that all these systems are set up. It's to make us stupid, you know. It's to make us really forget about our true history and who we really are. But it's based in this feeling of being unworthy. So we're all carrying that, right? So as we grow up, we go to school, and you know, there's so many things we're forced to do that doesn't feel natural, or we don't want to do it. But you know, there are laws and there are rules and there are punishments and all of this. So we conform because we have to, you know, to some degree, you know. And that's why you see, you know, teenagers especially being very rebellious. They have that rebellion because they're right in the middle of it, you know. They're not old enough to decide for themselves yet. The society don't give them that right. And they have to face all this indoctrination, you know. It's really sort of a crime what we're doing, but we're doing it. No one really intends for that, you know. Everyone is well-meaning and doing that because that's how it's always been. But it's also fear, you know. We're afraid that if we don't indoctrinate our children and you know, get them out into the world, then they're gonna be left behind, and what's gonna happen to them, and you know, all this. And of course we need an alternative. I'm not saying to just stop what's there, you know. The matrix is sort of our tool for transformation. It can be, you know. It's maybe not that right now, but we can make it into that. So we can transform the schools, and we can transform it, and it's already happening to some degree, you know. If you're looking at Montessori and Waldorf, they're on the right track, for sure, on the right track. But it needs actually to start in the individual. See, but we'll get to that later. So we become fearful, and we become indoctrinated, and we become sheep, all of us, more or less, you know. And this happens also in spiritual communities. This is the crazy thing that I've started realizing. Like, I've been really struggling with what to do with this feeling that I have about spiritual communities. And I've been in a few, and I've heard about many, and I have never really seen a spiritual community that has handled this in the way that I would want them to, you know. Like, it's spiritual communities often they become about hierarchies. They try not to, you know. They have really good intentions and they do a lot of good. I'm not saying like we have to stop, you know, but it's just we have to wake up. Everyone has to wake up, and we have to change things, you know, transform them, you know, step by step. When you change systems, you have to be really careful because small changes have huge ramifications. So we need to get better at that as well. We need to learn about systems, but also we don't have to worry so much because we have this divine intelligence that we can connect to, and it already knows what needs to be done. And part of it is making these videos, which I'm doing. So, you know, time to take a deep breath. Yeah. See, I'm here in nature, and there's a good reason for that, because I need grounding with all these higher ideas and downloads and revelations, sort of. Mother Nature is my greatest ally in all this. She is the purest energy that I have encountered on this earth, and she will not fool you. She will not drag you down. She will lift you up. She will empower you every time. So that's why I keep talking about Mother Nature. And I became a shaman because I faced myself in nature and through psychedelic work. So it's actually Mother Nature who gave me that title, and she wants me to carry that, and I'm proud to carry that, and I totally get it. And it's also a signal to everyone that we need this rooting. It's very, very important. And this is sort of one of the great antidotes to the Matrix, which a lot of us already know, and we already are exploring these things, and that's really good. And there's also deeper truth to that we are actually Earth, you know. And all these technologies and things we're putting on top, that's also part of us. There's nothing wrong with them necessarily, but what's important is balance, right? Balance, balance, balance. And cities, they tend to be so wound up, and the energy tend to be so hectic and ego-focused, very ego-focused, not in a good way. Like I've been saying, you know, the problem is not really ego, it's excesses of ego, and also, you know, depression of ego. That's when you, or excesses in either way, right? So either too much or too little. It needs to be balanced, and the only way to really balance it is to be aligned, to be connected to source. But we'll get to that. I'm thinking I'm going to get into more of the transmutation and the solutions tomorrow. I'm here in just outside Myra in northern Norway, far up north in the Arctic Circle, and it's a little valley here, beautiful valley. I hiked through it from that direction, and up here there is a really high mountain. I think the peak is like right here, but it's in the clouds, so you can't see it right now. It goes really high up, and I wanted to climb it today, but you know, it's not so fun to climb a mountain in the clouds and not see anything. So I'm hoping tomorrow will be a good day. So I was thinking today we focus on the darkness, the suffering, the unworthiness, and tomorrow we will look more into the solution, the transmutation of that, and sort of the future, like a vision for what we could do, you know? I think that would be a nice balance to this. And also the weather seems to agree with this. So Mother, again, very wise Mother we have. Mother Nature. All right. So hierarchies come from this lack of worthiness, you know, this unworthiness. We have lack of, so it becomes hierarchy. So we want to be better. We want to compete with each other because we feel this hole inside us, and you know, there's no way to fill that hole with external things, but that's what we're obsessed about doing. So acquiring things, lifting ourselves, all of these things, and it becomes a problem because it's so empty and it's so blind, and we keep on chasing, and there's no end to it, you know. And you know, we hoard, and we worry, and we're afraid, and you know, or we don't do that. We become, you know, spiritual, and we join some group, and then we surrender everything to that group, which is just, you know, maybe a bit more conscious ego, but it's not really shifting or awakening, you know, it's not carrying your truth from within. Especially groups that talk about egolessness and all of these things, it can get really counterproductive. It really can. And I was in one of these groups. I was in Vipassana meditation in the Goenkaji tradition, and you know, it was foundational for me, and I really appreciate those days. They really helped me to get to where I am, and I would probably not be where I am without that experience. But in saying that, we also have to remember that we can't be so controlled from the outside. It's not how it's meant to be, you know. I mean, you are free to do that, you know. That's how loved we are by Source, by God. You are free to, you know, enslave yourself. You are, see? But if you're here and if you're listening to this, I think you're onto something about all of this, you know. I think you feel it. Because we're meant to be free, and you know, when you're in alignment, then you are not that this God is deciding for you and calling you and for sacrificing yourself and all this. There's so many myths about all of this. There's so many extreme myths that are actually created for the exact reason to stop you from awakening. See? There's a lot going on, a lot of really deep deceptions all over spirituality, especially around spirituality, and you want to be really careful about what paths you follow and so on. And of course you have to experiment and all of this, but I'm just saying you can be caught up for years in these beliefs and in these paths that actually they might have been pure long ago, and then now they have been filled up with all this unworthiness, and that doesn't work. It won't get you the whole way. So you have to learn to be worthy. You have to learn to have faith in this divine intelligence, God, love, consciousness outside of you, which is you. So it's not really outside you, but it's how it looks when we're less conscious, basically. And you know, to some degree we want that because after all, God or Source is here to serve us. Is here to help us co-create. So we're here to create together the life of our dreams. So what you're seeing here, this is heaven. Right here, right now, this is heaven. But when we're unconscious, it becomes hell. See? Bet you all knew that, but still. So it's in that connection, in that co-creation. We have some ptarmigans going off here. They have a very loud, deep, repetitive noise that they make. Yeah, I lost my trail of thought there. Well, again, it's centering. It's coming back to the ground. It's good. It's good. Feeling into Mother. She's guiding. So, I was told, yeah, not to be so digestible. I've been listening to channeler. Her name is Freya Ray, F-R-A-Y-A, Freya Ray, R-A-Y. So, if you're watching, hi. She's amazing. She has a very youthful and feminine and insightful energy that she's very fun to watch, and getting a lot of little insights from her is really great. So she's saying that I shouldn't be so digestible, you know, and I totally get that. So this is me trying not to be so digestible. And that's the life I've lived in the past. I've been sort of hiding myself and holding back, but also maturing, also learning, also studying, also journeying and going really deep within. And yeah, well, now I'm here. Now I'm a lion, so now I don't have to be digestible anymore. And that's, it's about time, really. Still haven't found my trail of thought, but it's okay. I'll come up with another one. Well, you know, unworthiness, then it leads to all the other things, you know. We have all this competition and the wars, and I mean, it goes on and on and on, you know, at every level, you know. We fight in families, we fight with neighbors, we're afraid, and, you know, on and on it goes. And when you start thinking about it, you'll see it everywhere, you know, and you'll feel it. It's a frequency. That's really the key here, is to feel into things. So you feel that frequency of fear, of unworthiness, then you know, like, okay, there it is, there's the darkness, you know. That's not what I need to follow, that's not what I need to be doing right now. And then you feel into alignment, effortlessness, you know, love, appreciation, and now we're talking, you know, that's where we want to be. So You know, there's a lot of confusion going on, and it's really to keep us in the dark. There are many beings who superficially benefit from you and me and everyone else being in the dark. So there, you know, ultimately, deeply, no one benefits from this. It's suffering, you know, suffering deluxe, you know. But at the superficial level, some people benefit, you know, financially, whatever. There's a bunch of different benefits from being on the top of the hierarchy, you know, superficially. But so we need to recognize that, and we need to see that for what it is, and not get pulled into it. Basically, that's the most important thing. And then to align ourselves so that we can co-create with God, Source, the reality that we want, you know. And this is what I started doing now. So I made a video about effortlessness recently. It's called Living Effortlessly in a World That Glorifies Struggle. So you can watch that if you want more of the answers already, or just wait for the video coming in a day or two after this one. All right, so I think we'll leave it there. I get this feeling from Mother that, you know, you've talked enough about the dark. Now it's time to do something else. And it's really a feeling that's getting really strong for me, because you could, that's another trap actually. It's like you can get lost in the dark, you know, in analyzing it and talking about it and trying to find your way out. And it's not so complicated actually, you know. It's really about alignment, about, you know, there are many tools. I prefer meditation as a basic tool to do every day, every morning, meditate and get into that detached state, and then you will start hearing Source. You will start feeling the nudges, because your emotional guidance system is guiding you towards everything you want, you know. So the way you feel, that's actually the key. And if you want to learn more about that, just search for Abraham Hicks. There are so many videos about all of this from them. So just tap into that. But I'll talk more tomorrow about that, or the next video that's coming out. Yeah, so please, again, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, like the video, share it with a friend, and post your comments below, questions, revelations, insights, all that good stuff. Let's build this tribe. Let's make it into something, right? Let's spread this message. You know, people need to learn about this feeling of unworthiness and what it's doing to us and to the world, so we can transmute it and get out of it. Thank you all. Ciao.